Hello, and welcome to Fusion Writing, where building character meets creating structure. This is our writing week, and Tuesday is our map day where we get down to the assignment of writing for this week. Victoria, do you want to introduce us to your side of things?
Absolutely. Okay, so quick recap. When we started out in week 1, we talked about the experience collection. That's a section of your notebox where on a day-to-day basis, you carry your little note cards around with you and you capture things from your experience. It could be an observation, it could be a thought, it could be an idea for a story element. Whatever it is, you're just capturing those experiences on your cards so that you have them at hand later. Then we talked about some modes of expression, and I gave you 3. I gave you thoughts, actions, and speech, like dialogue or internal monologue. So for this week's writing exercise, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start to think of the things that you've captured during these exercises in terms of their opposite. So let me tell you what I mean. Many times when, let's say, we're thinking of using a particular action to portray a feeling. Remember when we talked about, instead of saying, Jill was so angry, you say, she threw her keys on the desk, walking out and slammed the door. You're saying she's angry by showing her actions. Well, what if that turns out in a different way than the reader is expecting it? For this week's exercise, let's use that one because that's an easy one to visualize, okay? So you're showing someone being angry by what they do. Think of it then as scene and sequel. So when you're writing a scene, that's a particular set of actions that happen on the page that convey to the reader a set of information. The next thing that you write after that scene is generally you're going to write some kind of a sequel. Whatever this action is has an equal or opposite reaction. Rather than an equal, we're going to write the opposite. So if you set your scene up so that your character does something that shows they're angry, and that's where you leave the reader, I want you to pick it up with the opposite. So rather than continuing down the road of what resulted from your character outbursting in that way, I want you to show your character maybe as reflecting on that angry episode. And how do they react to it? Or maybe instead of the sequels showing someone reacting to them in a negative way and having a confrontation, which is what you would expect from an angry outburst, instead, what if someone meets them with compassion? And because of that, it gets underneath the anger and reveals something about your characters. See where I'm headed here? I want you to write an action. Or if you want to use the other modes of expression, you can use a thought, or you can use something that's said, either dialogue between two, or a monologue, an internal something that someone's thinking. And then I want you to write the opposite of what someone would expect from that scene, okay? So you're setting up a scene and a sequel. Your scene leads the reader down a trail of what they're expecting, and then your sequel delivers the opposite. What we're hoping in this exercise is that we're going to reveal something about that character, not only to our reader, but to ourselves as the writer. Because let me tell you, oftentimes when you're writing a scene and you take a break and you come back and then you're writing that character again, the characters do something entirely unexpected and they surprise you as much as they surprise the reader. So that, my friends, is your assignment. I want you to think about those scenes, and then I want you to come back and write the sequel in an opposite or twisty way that reveals something about that character. And then we'll talk about it over in LiLLiPub, which Kathleen will share that link later, but I'm going to throw it over to her to share her side for you today.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Victoria. That really sounds like a lot of fun. I can't wait to play with that exercise. Well, we're going to do something that has a twist in it too, quite possibly, maybe, maybe not. We talked a little bit on Monday in the Compass about constellations of character traits that sometimes go along with modesty. When modesty is in the wing and the character just has to have all the attention, or if modesty is in the anchor where they're very comfortable and don't need a lot of extra attention. Whichever way you've cast modesty, there are a number of other character traits that tend to go along with it. For instance, very often if you've got modesty in the anchor position, you might see character traits that reflect caring and concern for other people, because that character doesn't need a lot of attention themselves. So that means they're free to look out and see the needs of others. So you might see also along with that meekness, where they also don't need to be flamboyant in any respect. You might also see magnanimity, where they're ready to share the credit. Oh, it wasn't just me, it was my whole team. So those traits tend to go together. Now, if you've got modesty up there in the wing, where your character has to get all of the attention and be the right one all the time, well, a lot of things go along with that as well, don't they? Because that person might be rude, give the elbow to anyone who gets in their way. You might see greed. You might see all kinds of other behaviors going along with that reflect your character's desire to get everything for themselves. And so if you want to play with these character traits and see which ones might go with modesty, you can look in my book, Writing with Emotion. In the center, there's charts of all of the character traits, and you can peruse those character traits and see which ones you think go best with modesty. Now, if you don't have my book, but you are in LiLLiPub, those pages have been reproduced as a resource for you, so you can find them over in our Fusion Writing section on LiLLiPub as well. Or you can just go and consult your own common sense meaning of the various character traits that you have in your mind based on living as long as you've lived. So certainly you know something about how people behave. So if you're new to the character traits, then what I invite you to do is keep it simple. Think about the character traits that go along with how you've assigned modesty for your character, and write a little section that shows how these other character traits come along with modesty. However, if you've been doing this for a number of months and you've been doing your writing assignments and you've been learning your character traits as we've gone along, then I'm going to invite you to do a challenge. And it's also a twist, like Victoria has given us a twist. And in this case, I want you to identify that cluster of character traits that either go with the wing or with the anchor, and then pick one of them and assign it the wrong way. This is supposed to go with modesty in the wing. It's as though that modesty was in the anchor, or vice versa. It's supposed to go with modesty in the anchor, but oops, that one's in the wing. What happens to your character when one of the other character traits that normally go along with it is miscast? You'll get some pretty interesting behavior, because if you think about it, regular human beings are not perfect. We can have oddball character traits that go astray. Any one of us might. And so that should probably be true of the characters that you invent as well. Give them a little bit of personality by having that one thing out of whack, the way you would normally think of going along with however you assign modesty for them. So that's my challenge to you. Anything to add, Victoria?
That is fantastic. I love playing around with oddball character traits. What a way to engage with not only your imaginary friends, but also to engage with a deeper level of your writing. So, all I would say, guys, is experiment. Take our advice, get these things down on the page so that you can start playing with them and really diving deep into characters. Because what this is all about is it's about giving your reader the best experience that you can, but also growing yourself as a writer as much as you can. That's what these tools are great for. So Kathleen, where can people come and share their writing with us?
Come to LiLLiPub.org. We get together every Saturday for a fusion writing session where you can post your writing and we'll share it with one another and give you some tips on your writing. You can give tips to the other writers, or you can just come and be a fly on the wall. If you join LiLLiPub.org, you can get all of the wonderful resource that we've left there for you. You can ask questions, and you can get to meet some of the other wonderful people in LiLLiPub.org. So please come and join us.
Awesome.
We'll see you next week for a brand new month. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.